Hi everyone. My name's Andre. I'm a TCM practitioner, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Um, okay, I have a little assistant here with me today. Um, Somehow he wants to be here right now. He wasn't here in a Mandarin version of my life previously. Um, so I'm wearing a shirt and tie today. The reason being, I just I did a little presentation for a BC government's group called BC Housing. They have some sort of educational event that they invite people to speak who's in like healthcare industry to talk about their profession. And today's event was it was done with BC Housing Group and Arthritis Society. So I did a talk about um, like kind of introduce them to where did Chinese medicine come from, and how did it start, and what are the some basic ideas about TCM, and how I do my TCM diagnosis, and then how Chinese medicine view arthritis. So arthritis, it's just a name it's a fancy name for joint pain. In the ancient time, the Chinese people did not have paper to write on, so they had to do carvings on either bamboo or pieces of wood, right? So they couldn't use uh, something that's they couldn't use a lot of words to explain a simple idea. So instead, they use a simple word to explain a complex idea. So arthritis, as we know nowadays, back then is called just called joint pain. So what kind of it doesn't matter what kind of arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or even gout is some sort of arthritis, or they're all categorized under joint pain, and then so is frozen shoulder. So in TCM, it's quite simple that we just see joint pain as joint pain, nothing fancy. So today's topic, what does a TCM practitioner do to offset the effect of eating ice cream or eating spicy food or having alcohol? Um, I know our English speaker audience probably are not as familiar with the concept of TCM as our Chinese speakers. So, our Chinese speaking audience, they're familiar with TCM, so they know that we don't advocate people having anything that's cold and raw, or ice cream, or even to like even something at the other end of spectrum, like really hot food, like spicy food, um, or even drinking alcohol. Like it's not healthy in our eyes, and we try to tell patients not to do any of those things. And as a practitioner, we are supposed to be very healthy and live the guidelines that we gave to our patients, right? But no, we are still humans. We have needs and wants. We sometimes still want to have some ice cream when the weather was really hot, or when there's a really good ice cream joint and open up in town. Um, and so is spicy food. And then alcohol, it kind of help you relax in certain degree, or sometimes it's called for like in a social event, just if everybody's drinking and you're pretending that, oh, I'm so healthy, I don't drink alcohol, and they're probably not gonna like you, and you probably won't get invited again. So um so here's I'm gonna tell about what I do, a couple of tips. Basically they are a herbal formula that I take to offset the effect of having those things. The formula, I usually just go to the herbal store to get a pack, and a pack is usually good for a day and a half. So normally you kind of cook the herbs in water, and then from 6 cups of water down to 3 cups of water, and then you break it into 3 parts. You have 1 cup in the morning, 1 cup in the evening, and then the third one is for the next day. And generally, it only takes about 1 to 2 cups to offset what you just ate. Unless it's something really bad that's giving you actually food poisoning or stomach flu. That's another story. But so let's talk about why, what does ice cream do to our body? So in order to offset it, you have to know what it does to you, right? So I want all of you to pay attention what happens in your body. So what I mean, is there any change in your sleep, or any change in the temperature of your hands and feet, or how you feel about the environment temperature? Also pay attention to how often you pee, and what kind of pee are you having? Is it like clear, no water, like water, or is it really dark yellow, or is it light yellow? And so is your bowel movement habit. Whether you're going every day in the morning, or there's no specific time, or you don't go every day, or you go too many times in a day. These are all things that you should pay attention to. And also whether it takes a long time to pass the bowel. That's also one thing to pay attention to, as well as where if you're, after you pass the bowels, do you feel like an emptied feeling? So you feel that everything's passed, you don't have, you don't need to sit there to wait for it to finish. Some people, after they go, they still have that unfinished feeling. So that is actually considered a very early stage, or let's say a very mild case of constipation. So I'm going to use myself as an example. So after eating ice cream, because ice cream is cold, right? Your GI tract, the temperature of your GI tract will reduce because of the ice that you just ate. And last in episode, I think episode 2, I did talk about why you shouldn't be eating raw or cold food, because it takes away the heat from your body. So when your GI tract temperature is like lower than normal, then it's not gonna function as well as normal. Like people in the cold tend to everything in the cold tend to slow down, and everything in heat tend to speed up. That's how our body works. So eating ice cream will slow down your digestive function. Not only that, because ice cream was made from dairy, milk, and other dairy, so it's going to create more mucus in your GI tract. So, so what we need to do is to warm up the GI tract and to get rid of the excess mucus. And there is a herbal formula called 附子理中汤. I know it's probably hard to remember all these names. I will write it down at the end of the live. It's something that you can get from the herbal store. I'll give you the proper dosage for even just 1 or 2 cups. So that way you're not gonna scare anybody, because 附子 is actually a very a herb with very hot nature. So in the classic TCM, they kind of label some of the herbs as toxic, but the idea of toxic back then is completely different from what it is now, because now if you think about toxic, you think about you need like gas mask, or it's like rat poison, you would die from the toxic. But toxic back then just means something that has a extreme property. For example, if the herb is very hot in nature to certain amount, the literature will say this herb is toxic, and they'll give you like a mild or severe toxicity. So that's what he meant. Foods is a very hot herb. So if you want to get it from the herbal store, the store might not want to sell you that if they don't know you, or if it's not prescribed by the TCM practitioner. So the best is still to go see a TCM practitioner before you try any of these formulas yourself. But if you want to try, I am not responsible for anything happen to you. It's your own choice of trying, and you have to be responsible for your own choice. Okay, that's my disclaimer. And next thing on the list is spicy food, because spicy food, some people call it hot, right? So the name being hot, meaning it has a very hot nature. So spicy food will create heat in your GI tract. Some people will have heartburn or acid reflux after eating spicy food. That's because it's creating heat in your stomach. And what we do to neutralize it, you need some cooling herbs to neutralize that. A good formula to help you balance the temperature of your stomach is called 泻心汤. Is the direct translation is basically just reduce the heart formula. Why is named that? Because heart in Chinese medicine has a symbol of fire. So whenever there is fire in your stomach or in your chest, the ancient Chinese people think about it as having a heart fire. So hence the name reducing heart formula. This formula consists of Huang Qin and Huang Lian, which both are bitter in taste and very cooling in nature. So that will help you offset the stomach heat or the heartburn feeling or the acid reflux. For some people, if they haven't had pay attention to their diet, they just eat whatever. They might have a case called a mixture of heat and cold. So basically, part of your stomach is hot and part of it is cold. In this case, we'll need something that's some herbs that's cool in nature and also warm in nature, kind of balance it out. So in a nutshell, that's how it's done. So when I say cool or cold, some cold stuff to balance the spicy food, please don't eat ice cream after you have some really spicy food, because that's not going to work. It's going to create more issue. Like I said, you can have a mixture of heat and cold. It's not intended to be done that way. The herbal medicine has been used for thousands of years. That's why it's been used this way. Not too many people are watching. So I guess we're not gonna get many questions. Anyways, next thing on the list is alcohol. So what alcohol does to your body is that alcohol has a dispersing action. If you ever use an alcohol wipe on your skin, it evaporates very quickly, and it also takes away a lot of heat from your skin, so your skin feels cool and cold, right? So it's when you take alcohol, not 100% alcohol, but like wines and stuff, that's exactly what's happening in your body in a nutshell. So it's dissipating the heat from the inside of your body to the superficial of your body. And one thing that alcohol does is it will kind of force the liver to let me put it this way. Liver is supposed to store the extra blood in your system. So when you drink alcohol, your body, your heart rate increases, your blood circulation also increases, and your body will need some extra blood to kind of help maintain this circulation. So this blood comes from your liver. So alcohol kind of like uses up your liver blood per se. It's taking it out of the liver and using it at other parts of your body. So if this blood can go back to liver, then you're okay, right? For whatever you took out, you put it back, then that's fine. But if you drink alcohol as a habit, you do it every day, you're gonna notice that this liver blood probably isn't completely going back. What I mean by that is because liver is an organ that nourish our tendons. So when your tendon is very tight or not flexible, that usually indicates a lack of liver blood. So liver doesn't have enough blood to nourish the tendon. That's why the tendon is not flexible. So it can happen. It will cause pain or like sore achiness in your muscles actually, because it's hard to tell what's tendon, what's muscle, right? But you'll notice that, and then you could have some pain, and you probably will notice that for some people, their cheeks or their skin gets red very quickly after having some alcohol. That means the liver blood isn't enough because everything was kind of pushes to your superficial area of your body. So a formula that I like to use is called 当归芍药散. Basically, it has half of it. It's gonna help you generate blood, helps liver store more blood, and helps nourish the tendon, can soften the tendon, and makes it a little bit more flexible again. And the other part is actually like it helps you with your water metabolism. Because when you drink alcohol, you're gonna notice you're very dehydrated because the water in your blood vessel is actually been evaporated. It kind of pushes to outside of your blood vessel. So this herbs not only kind of improve the water metabolism, it kind of also helps you kind of get the water back to where it should be into the blood vessel. So that's basically what I do as a remedy for these things. And you don't need to do too often. Just, after each time you just take one dose of the herbal formula, and then you are okay until next time you have these things again. Unless you are already having some health issue, and taking it only once will not solve your problem. It will just kind of help you offset it a little bit, but the best is still go see a TCM doctor or practitioner to help you with that. We have a question, is drinking an empty stomach really harmful? Yes. The answer is yes, because alcohol really damages your stomach lining. So the stomach lining has some sort of a film that protects, kind of like, I want to say mucus, but it's some sort of fluid that protects the lining of the stomach. And alcohol will actually kind of dissolve that. And if you don't replenish the lining or the fluid, the mucus, the alcohol will be direct contact with your stomach lining, and then it's gonna damage it, and then eventually you'll have some stomach ulcer or even stomach bleeding, like internal bleeding. You have very, very dark stool. I think that's it for the English live. We don't get too many audiences, but I'm still going to keep doing it because I do have some English-speaking patients who doesn't understand Mandarin, and this is a good info to, like, good knowledge to pass on. If any of you who is watching or who will be watching later on, if you have any suggestion for my live topic, feel free to leave a message. And if I find it interesting, I'll do a special episode just for your topic, or I'll answer your questions in one of my live broadcasts. So if you like my content, feel free to like my page, and that way you'll get updated, or you get a notification whenever I'm having a live. Or you can share whoever you think this information is useful for. Can be your friends or family. Or you can subscribe my YouTube channel. It's also called Andre Shi Traditional Chinese Medicine. And I also have a website. It's TCM.com. I have written some blog posts, mostly about clinical cases that I've treated and people I've helped who with improvement, or even like I was able to get rid of their issue for good, actually. So that's it for today, and thank you for watching, and bye bye.